afternoon. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out. We have been getting together for about 4 weeks now, coming together with tell you the people we have talked to, and we're going to first announce who we are. My name is Teresa Taylor, and they have nominated me for the president for a minute. Okay, I am Teresa Taylor. This is Aries Pass.
Vice President Henry.
And Eva Parnell.
The secretary or the correspondence secretary. I think correspondence secretary.
And Mitchell. We did this last week. And Chuck, I forgot. Chuck. Assistant treasurer. We did this last week at one of our meetings. It was not as many people here, but we had to get the ball rolling, so we just nominated each other and voted everybody in, so we just rolling with it. I don't know what I'm doing, I'll tell you right now. I'm just rolling with the flow. We just being pushed in to help our center go flow and to keep moving. We have met with quite a few people so far. We talked with the mayor. Anyone want to tell them what we talked about with the mayor? We talked with the mayor. We talked with Mike Smedley. We met with Mayor Ron Beach, who's also running, helping with the pastor of this church to get us in here. They have widened the doors, and the pastor will tell you everything that he has done here in the church for us to come in. We talked with people who's going to do Meals on Wheels, and anyone else am I forgetting? I forgot my paperwork. It's sitting at home on the table. So if anyone want to help me out here.
About the Rose Center, you want to talk about the partners and when they're coming together?
We have the Rose Center, we have Black Grant, we had
WRAA, West Reserve.
And West Reserve, and they are coming together to help us flow with the center. Okay.
What I understood from the mayor was that we will be meeting down here, starting off for lunches, and then as they progress, Benjamin Rose or the Rose Institute, the Rose Center is going to start providing the services that you had before, and the pastor of this church has been kind enough to get us started. You'll probably be talking with him shortly. But that's what. And the fact that it will start with meals right now, and the services will begin right here. But the way I understand it, at the end of next year, they will have a facility built to house the services that you require. Is that correct?
You're right.
You said providing lunches. What about the people that need transportation here to get their lunch? Some of us drive.
Right.
No, you're there.
Oh,
I don't have to come up, but I can clarify a lot of things. So basically,
Make sure everybody knows who you are.
my name is Travell Harper, I'm the executive of Northeast Ohio Alliance for Hope.
can't hear you over here.
Yes. My name is Travell. I'm the executive director of the Northeast Ohio Alliance for Hope, also known as NOAA. I'm also a proud East Cleveland resident, homeowner, family. I got one little boy that's about 15 months and a little girl that's on her way in April. And so I'm vested here, and I love you guys. That's why, he came to me and told me that you guys need a place to meet to kind of like organize and see what you guys can do as seniors to actually restore the center and that kind of thing. And he's been dutiful, as well as this whole group here and right here to actually bring people together. They spoke of a nonprofit that they recovered that went inactive for a while that they're trying to get back. It's called Nova Nila.
Senior Citizens Incorporated. Global Nila Senior Citizens Incorporated. Some of you may remember that name.
Yes,
somebody still has their card.
So what they want to do is react that. So because how many people believe that we also have to participate in our own like the things that we need to do, we need to participate in that as well, right? In order to make those things happen. And everything is so they had a lot of initiative. They went forth, they did a lot of research. Brother Chuck did a lot of research around the old nonprofit, and they elected new officers. And you got your president there, your treasurer, your secretaries, and all that stuff, etc. And so after they began to get that done, we set up a meeting with the administration. Michael Smedley came down with Mayor Norton, and they actually explained what was going on. So basically, we know that so the Helen S. Brown Center was supported out of the general fund, and typically cities don't run senior service centers and everything. But as you know, with the fiscal condition of the city now, it just wasn't enough in the general fund to keep it open. And so going into 2015, they had to just abruptly close it. And a lot of that decision was made by they have a commission, a state commission that oversees our finances and that kind of stuff. And so that's how that stuff happened. Well, anyway, but there's been work, that, especially after things got on the news, there's been a lot of work to actually try to get bring some remedy to this particular issue of getting that center back open. And so now what's happening is the Rose Center. Say with me, the Rose Center. So the Rose Center is going to be, they're actually positioning themselves now, they're going to be administering all your services. And then the pastor of this church, Reverend Braxton, of Life Cathedral, he's opened his doors to actually be able to use this facility to be able to house the senior services until we can either get the Helen S. Brown Center repaired, or there's sort of like two contingencies. One is actually when the Salvation Army building is built, I have senior services ran out of there fully run, and then the other is the Helen S. Brown Center, the actual tower. They're actually planning on, they're contemplating actually building a full senior facility. And so you got two things, contingency plans that are working on your behalf to actually create these services again. And so some of the things that we talked about at the last meeting, Melvin Leach, who's the community development director for the city, he actually came forth and he talked about the different services and everything that will be provided. And one of the things that this church is going to do, in addition to housing the space, under the supervision of the Rose Center, they're going to actually be administering meals to you guys. And I believe Melvin Leach said that they're looking for a target date to restart that February 2nd. And so that's something to look forward to. We'll probably hear more, because this group actually meets every Tuesday, and so we'll hear more and get more of an update and that kind of thing. And for what I'm understanding, there will be transportation as well. That's what the administration has told us. They're actually going to go and try to attempt to recover all the people who used to work for the Helen S. Brown Center and that kind of stuff to actually go, and because they know everything they know the routes and that kind of stuff. Get the drivers back to actually come pick you guys up. But but all this stuff is all in the works. Nothing's perfect, but we're really, this group is actually, all I've done is really just sat by and when they had a question, just answer the question, try to get them resources and try to get them people in the room that they need to talk to. But this group has done a dynamic job, and I think they deserve a hand. So just give them a hand. Also, they have they're targeted to actually open up this facility, I believe, in March. And everything, and so it'll be running all the full senior services for you guys. And so like I said, there's actually three contingencies. One, I think they're gonna be trying to raise money to actually get the Helen S. Brown Center to, so the building is back together again and that kind of stuff, enough for you guys to go back, because I understand it wasn't even any heat there. And so they're trying to remedy that problem. But until then, this is going to be you guys home, that kind of stuff. And so I don't know if there are any other questions. I can send it back to the president.
I would like to say that we do meet every Tuesday at 1 o'clock at the, what's the name of the building?
The solar building.
The solar building, across the street from Popeye's Chicken on Euclid, right past Euclid and Superior, if anybody's familiar with that. Okay. I don't have the address.
13308 Euclid Avenue.
13308 Euclid Avenue.
Well, see, I got a question to ask now. One of the biggest problems for these seniors is lack of transportation. Now, even for these meetings, how would the ones that don't have transportation be able to get there for that?
So what's been going on now is, this group, and it was just a small quarter. I think it started with maybe 15, maybe 20.
Maybe 12. But what we've been doing is people who have cars, we're asking them to pick up somebody. If you don't have a ride, I'll give you my card. I'll come and pick you up if I have to, because these meetings are very important. I could probably hold 4 people in my car. You know. So if anybody wants my card before we leave today, you're welcome to have my card. And I'm hoping the ones who have cars will share a ride with somebody.
And as far as like when the services start back, the transportation will actually come as well.
So we're not gonna meet at this location here?
Not for the regular every Tuesday meeting. Right. And then pretty soon the lunches will start and you'll get more information.
You guys remember maybe about 3 or 4 years ago, we started this as seniors. We would meet with Veronica every Tuesday. We would meet 11 o'clock in the library. So this is nothing new. We've been doing it for over 5 years. It's just that we got sick over the period of time and we didn't do this and we didn't do that. We couldn't get together. And then after, everything started falling through, we just branched out. That's when we was donating coffee and everything like this. So we are not new to being together and doing these meetings. But it's open to anybody who want to come. We want everyone to try and make some meetings sometime. So this is not new. We've been doing it for a long time. And now we have a name.
Well, it was said when the mayor came that he was going to provide transportation. Because I wrote it down. When everything got open, set up, he would provide transportation. That's what I wrote down.
So I was hearing something about the Benjamin Rose. So this agency is going to be providing most of the services that was being offered over here.
It's not classified as Benjamin Rose. It's Rose.
Rose. Okay. Rose.
And so pretty much they're going to do, so the city's going to support by still, allocating CDBG dollars towards the Helen S. Brown Center.
Right.
And everything, but the Rose Center is they're the entity that's going to run the whole thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the reason why, because they've been doing this for years. They're in the business of providing senior services and everything, and it only makes sense,
right,
for that to happen.
Right.
So.
Okay. When I was going to Helen S. Brown every day, I talked to Kingston, I talked to several people in charge about as to why the seniors don't have to contribute something to go to the center. I know you can't give maybe $50 a month, but you can give something to help yourself. And they said that Mr. Valentine said his seniors didn't have to pay anymore. So I think we need to get back to the way it should be, where you pay something. You pay something like the transportation if you get a ride. It was no more than 25 or 50 cents to ride the bus every day. You pay something for you to contribute to your meals. We need to do something rather than just always want a handout.
Excuse me, what's your name?
Janet Thomas.
I hope you come to every meeting.
Well, there's always been a donation side right there.
We were giving donations for coffee.
Yeah.
We were giving
No, I'm talking about the donation in the lunchroom right there. It's a big sign that says donation, and we always had a can up there. But nobody put anything in.
Well, don't say
So that's
nobody,
their
but I
fault.
did.
No, that's what I'm saying. Everybody didn't put anything in. So that was their fault.
What we do every Tuesday, every Tuesday, we have an agenda. And right now, we're trying to talk on this agenda. And,
Does everybody have an opinion?
questions like that, we're not going to talk about that.
Okay.
Because here is important.
We need to pass out an agenda so everybody knows what to say.
We don't we don't have
I'm gonna give you
Today they didn't have to share with them.
But every Tuesday, even when the people come in, so that we don't get off track. We know what we're doing. And I know you have other questions. You'll be able to do that later. But right now, we're trying to get this together. And even the people that come in have this agenda. We talk about that. Okay. But you'll
Are we gonna do a walkthrough today?
We supposed to wait on the pastor, to take us to a walkthrough. Yeah, we're waiting on him to take us to a walkthrough. We're supposed to be able to walk through and see what's going on. Mitch?
Okay, one of the talking points on the agenda was, can seniors raise money for operations costs? So, that is kind
That
of
was a legitimate question.
That was kind of valid what Jackie was asking, because once upon a time it was, that way. And in terms of the service we get, we should not sit back and have somebody else do it for us. We should be partners in whatever goes on. We should take an active role in what happens with us, because it's us that we're, trying to get something done. And we should have an active role in financial and everything.
The lady back here with a question.
Do they have, the people who they're going to pick them up for the meal and take meals to, do they have all their name, all the seniors' names that they're supposed to go take the meal to and pick
Yes,
them up?
we do have all of that.
Okay.
That is not rocket science. Western Reserve currently has everything, because everything is in computer systems. Some people did get called by Western Reserve. And that's because they could go into our computer system and gather all that information. We do have the rosters. It's not clear to us yet whether Western Reserve is delivering meals, and I suspect that they are, to the homebound, those who are already receiving home delivery meals through us. I think that they picked those up and had another provider to step in and provide those home delivered meals. So we were anticipating having, as you can see on your agenda, Western Reserve, a representative from Western Reserve and a representative from the Rose Center here today, so that we can begin to ask them the critical questions of when, what's the timeline, who's going to do what, and how all the nuts and bolts are going to fall together. But in terms of telephoning folks that is saying, hey, we're here, or hey, we want you here on the exact date, that will not be an issue. Everybody will get notified.
And there's a lack of communication with the administration to get them here today, but we're gonna really push hard to get them to the next meeting.
That'll be next Tuesday.
And I talked to Gene last week. I missed it yesterday, but I did call him to try and get him here at the meeting, so he could have some input as to how this is going to work out, what his involvement in this should be or would be.
Because right now the goal is, at least from the standpoint of all the players who are putting this all together, is to bring the current staff back, which I think Gina was the only one at our last meeting that they didn't have a current phone number on. But Resourceful Seniors had the number so that they could pass that on. And the goal is to have him come back because he knows the routes, he knows everyone, and to pick up seniors to bring them in. I think the other pieces of that have to go on, and we don't know about the transfer of the computer systems over, but we do know the tables and chairs from Helen S. Brown will come over here. There has to be some kind of transfer of the ownership of the buses. And then NOACA has to be notified of, that transfer, but we want to use the same buses that we have. Some transfer, because then you got to transfer some liabilities. So that piece has to be cleared up and we'll hammered out in terms of the two buses that are belong to Helen S. Brown. But you're free to ask other questions. I mean, you want to. For me, it's like home to see so many of y'all. So please, any rumors that you've heard, I know that there's a lot of stuff floating around, because every time I walk out somewhere, I run into somebody that tells me some story. I'm like, really? Yeah.
I would just like to say, I think you heard Travell mention about the Salvation Army. I don't know how many people are familiar with what's going on with the Salvation Army in East Cleveland. Does everybody know about that?
Yeah, the one that's being built back behind Windermere Rapids.
That's the one I'm talking about. So y'all familiar with that?
Next year.
Okay, Salvation Army has acquired some land. The city actually gave them some land on Dome, on you know where the old Dome apartments used to be?
Yes.
And that's been an empty space for a lot of years.
Yes.
Now Salvation Army is going to build a multi-million-dollar facility right there in that location. And it's going to house community centers. It's also going to have a place for seniors, a specific area for seniors. And that's where one of the options that they have for you to have a place of your own. So I just want to clarify that. Oh, yes. Oh,
We need one up here too. I was letting you look at it so while you were speaking.
oh, okay.
Can't give it back.
Okay.
But then we know what to talk about.
Okay.
We want to.
So I just want to clarify that about Salvation.
We don't have to. We're waiting on the pastor to see if we can survive. We don't have a survive.
No, I can run across the street and go get some copies of that made up if you need me to do that.
Yeah, that'll be approved.
Let me get one copy. I'll run across the street.
Yeah, give it to him.
I can get the paper provided.
He need a copy, he'll give it back to you.
Don't worry about it. I'll bring it right back.
No one's
Get
here.
about 10.
Yeah, but I ain't stuff for it.
We'll make some more copies.
Oh, here you go, Ben.
She's gonna write it off. I don't want it. She wanna write it off in the book. She doesn't want to write it. I understand.
I wouldn't write questions.
My hearing is not the best, but she just wanted to write
I wanted to write
questions
questions.
out of it. She didn't want to think it.
He gonna make some, and you have your own person. He gonna make some. You know?
We're still waiting on the pastors, but we're waiting on some more walkers. Here is here.
What I understood as far as the Caring and Care, they will be still part of this whole thing. The pastor is willing to donate the space and everything. And there were members here who said and made it clear that we did want them to be a part of everything that's going on.
Yeah, so Reverend Braxton, so he misunderstood. He thought you guys just wanted to meet here, but he's right outside. He'll be here in a minute to take us for a tour. So.
If most of you remember Keisha, who was with us at the center, and she has an announcement about a corner store that's going to open.
this Saturday, we will be opening up a corner store. It's called Ujama, which means cooperative economics. It's in the old Caledonia Library building, 960 Caledonia. Yeah.
Yes. We'll, on this side, we kind of having a problem hearing.
You can't hear me? Okay.
Go stand to the middle of it.
Thank you.
Okay.
What's the name?
Caledonia.
What's the name of
The name of the store.
Yeah.
It's called Ujama. I'll be on Channel 5 News talking about it on. I'll be on Channel 5 with Leonville talking about this program. It's called the Ujama Corner Store. It's a Ujama, Ujama, which means cooperative economics. It's cooperative economics, so it means supporting black-owned businesses. So what we do at the Ujama Cultural Arts Center, we are actually allowing vendors or people who have businesses to promote their businesses there, to also to sell their goods and products at the Cultural Arts Center. We'll also have opportunities for people to provide services there. So if you repair shoes, repair computers, do any kind of, have a cleaners, any service-oriented things, they will be allowed to come there and provide those services as well. There'll be art, there'll be food, there'll be music, and it's all a collective process where we all can benefit from it. So we're asking that you come out on Saturday. It's from 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock. On Sunday, it's from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And on Monday, it's from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock. We have line dancing on Monday night. On Saturdays, there'll be food and entertainment and activities, a proclamation from 2 other cities. We're trying to get a proclamation from East Cleveland. We haven't secured that yet. But South Euclid, Cleveland Heights, they're all on board with this. It's an intergenerational venture where there'll be youth there, adults, and seniors. And we're welcoming the seniors to come in and participate. We're planning on having karaoke, bingo, dominoes, cards. They have a pool table there. So there's lots of opportunity in this space, this Cultural Arts Center. The young lady who owns this center, her name is Joyce Dixon. She's done a lot of work on the facility, and we want to make sure that the community has a chance to enjoy it. On Sunday, we'll have jazz and other types of entertainment that's there, and all of the vendors will be there. So it'll be people there who have knitting, sewing, all kinds of different arts, hair braiding. I'll be braiding hair. And there'll be other people, like I said, who provide services that the overhead to open their business or keep their businesses open is too high. So we have to collectively come together so that we can continue to support what? Our own. Okay? So every person who ventures into this, every partner who comes along, they still have their own independent business. But collectively, it's the Ujama Corner Store. So, you have the information, pass it on. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So here we are, Reverend Bryson. So there's a misunderstanding because he was understanding that when he was just lending the space out, he didn't know that he was giving a tour, but he's happy to do it. And so give him a hand.
This is not church on Sunday, so you can save your hands for Sunday.
It's a pleasure to have each and every one of you here today. I actually, if it's not a problem, before we actually do a tour, I want to just take a picture because I've been fielding phone calls all morning about the progress in moving the senior services over here to New Life Cathedral. And, folks that are saying we need to push this process along. So a picture is worth 1,000 words. So if I can show how many people showed up here today because of their concern with the senior services, I want to send this to all of the stakeholders because we've been meeting with the county, we've been meeting with the Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging, we've been meeting with the Benjamin Rose Centers, and a variety of other organizations. McGregor Foundation has stepped up to the plate. Third Federal has stepped up to the plate to donate money, but I've been getting calls from all over since we said that we wanted to assist in continuing the senior services. So I want to be able to show the faces of the individuals that want to see the services continue. This has been a process, so just to kind of let you know where we are, it wasn't as simple. When we first came on board, my thought was that we would go ahead and get everything fixed at the Helen S. Center so that services could, temporarily be here, but then go back over to the center. The way that the food services and all of the licenses and everything, the way that they're set up, when you do it, you have to actually put things in place for at least a year. So for minimally at least a year, services will have to be here because we had to actually submit a plan to the county for the food services to actually move here. So we got that plan in. We had already had our own license for our kitchen here, but we had to do an amendment to that because we're actually going to redo our kitchen here on the first floor. We have a kitchen on the basement level, but we will also be adding the kitchen here on the first floor. So we're going through that. We also have to do some construction because our doors were made for little people. I actually have to turn sideways when I enter the door. So we have to come up to the American Disabilities Act's compliance, and those doors have to be expanded. So we have a little construction that we have to do. We're hoping to get that done within the next couple of weeks. We'll also, like even in the area here and in the area out in that we'll soon see, we'll also be putting a more durable carpet tile down versus the current carpet that you see here. So we'll be doing a little construction to get the place up to snuff. Also putting some additional monitors in for those people that like to watch the soap operas, for the men that might like to watch Sports Center, and making a place that you would want to come and hang out at. This room that you're now in would be used for the activities. This is our chapel. It's not used at all during the day. We have use for it for some of the meetings, but I will show you the areas on this floor, and then for those of you that can handle the stairs, unfortunately we don't have an elevator here. I can show you, we have a fitness room downstairs, and we also have what we call our game room for those that are interested in shooting pool, playing ping pong, foosball, air hockey, and some of the other things that we have down there. But the goal is we were targeting February/March to actually get services up and running. With all of the construction that has to be done to do this. We're actually moving the cookware over. This week we met yesterday to set the timeline for moving the cooking appliances over. And so the thing that we'd have to do that is to bring the bathrooms up to code and also the kitchen. Any questions that you might have for me before we take a little walk? We had too much heat. You see I'm over here sweating. Heat is not an issue here. When we moved into this building, which was, it'll be 5 years ago in February, this building was in dilapidated condition. We invested well over $100,000 in bringing this building up to the livable condition that you now see it in. And we're constantly investing into this facility. The building that you're now in was built in 1893.
So it's on the National Historic Registry as a historic site. Many of the names of the folks, the street that we drive down, they were the original founders of this church. So the Shaw family, the Samuel Eddy, which Eddy Road is named after. Many of the folks that were the pioneers for this area when it was the Euclid Territory are buried in the cemetery here. So this was also part of the Underground Railroad. So there's a lot of history. Sir?
Yeah, I'd like to ask a question. Is the city of East Cleveland a part of contributing in what is being planned now?
Yes, sir. I actually just got off of the phone with Mel Ram Leach, who is the community development person for the city, and they will actually be contributing CDBG dollars through the application process. Benjamin Rose will actually have to go through the process of applying for those funds, but that has been they have allotted a certain amount of money each year for the center. So we're expecting that to continue to happen, and they've been very supportive in continuing the services. So I think that because it's an outside agency that's going to be managing the services, and you will be guaranteed that the funds will continue to flow. Because once, and is there anybody that works for East Cleveland? Is that recording me? Mm-hmm. Okay, I won't say.
Right. I got a question to ask you, Joe.
Put it on pause.
With those funds that you're talking about from that outside agency, because I'm kind of like the gentleman asked, because somebody else is overseeing East Cleveland's finances.
Well, this is all of the funding is going to be going to Benjamin Rose. It won't even be coming through the church.
Okay.
Going through Benjamin Rose, which is all. See, when we sat down with the county, the one thing that they wanted to make sure is that the funding went through an agency that was already receiving funds from them. So Eliza Bryant was at the table and Benjamin Rose was at the table. Benjamin Rose said that we wanted to step up and be a part of this, so I commend them for that, and they have been doing a wonderful job of stepping up and providing the support needed to bring programming forward here in East Cleveland.
And also about that, so the fiscal commission only they have a jurisdiction over like the general fund, which is different than special funds. Special funds are grants that are received by like the state and county and other grants that come in that are special purpose dollars that have to go for specific things. And that right there is already appropriated. But the pot of money that like our city council that's over,
right,
what they appropriate, that's out of the general fund.
Okay.
And one thing a lot of people don't know is that like so Helen S. Brown Center was subsidized by the general fund for years. And it's because, every mayor that came through there and council had really valued senior service, but the city's financial condition is so much in dire straits. They did an analysis and everything. They said out of 17,900 people live here, only 5,000 of them, that's who carries the city, where there's property tax or actually like working, and that kind of stuff, taxable income. Then the average taxable income of that is like $20,000. And so you imagine back in the heyday, well, not even the heyday, but like when our general fund was around like $30 million and everything, and we was barely doing it then, right? Now it's down. Our general fund is about $10 million, 10.5. So you imagine trying to run a city that costs $30 million to run with $10 million.
Right.
It's kind of different. So the important thing for us to do is really prioritize, the things that we want, and then there's obviously other questions that we have to have and talk out within community as well. But like just to know that like, trust me, nobody wants to like not fund Helen S. Brown Center, but like the money just was not there to do it and everything. And so that's why this whole thing happened. And then then when things got like in the press as far as like, oh, the center's going to close, then people, that's the perfect advertisement. People start stepping up and say, okay, I feel that gap in, and everything. And like even Reverend Braxton, who has a vision for this whole corner and that kind of stuff, who stepped up, and he didn't have to, but he did.
Well, that's a great feeling because there's no confidence when it comes to depending upon the city. You know,
Yeah.
where, you know, as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, the reality is because no municipality really actually fully funds their senior services. It's usually always like jobbed out to a third-party nonprofit that does it. That's what they do. That's all they do.
Right.
And everything.
Right.
And so, I mean, so it should be the way that it's operating now. That's the way it should be.
Okay.
And the wonderful thing, when funders began to see that an outside agency was actually overseeing the services, they began to step up and say, we'll fund the project.
Okay.
Because in most other instances, as Travell indicated, they're looking for an outside agency that does that on a day-to-day basis to provide those services versus a municipal government.
Maybe paying the staff too, our staff would go under them?
Yes.
Or they would stay with the city?
No, the staff would actually work for Benjamin Rose. They were trying to begin to find staff, so when the funds came in, folks would be able to get acclimated to actually being here versus being across the street. Sir?
So what will be the future for the staff that will be on this ground?
So,
Are they going to be incorporated into this plan?
Well, according to
What's
my meeting with Benjamin Rose, their desire is to interview that staff and to see if they're going to fit within their culture. So if they fit and they're a good fit for moving forward, the possibility of them being brought back on is good.
That's what I would do. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, any other questions? So as I said, I got to take a picture because I want to make sure that folks see what I have seen today. One of the very first classes is going to be when we move services here is how to use your cell phone. So during meetings it doesn't ring. I can always tell when I'm in a room with older people and younger people. You never hear a young person's cell phone ring because they don't want to be busted. Okay, thank you so much. So for those of you that want to kind of tour the facility, just to give you a little insight, when we moved here, we came all the way from 93rd and Kinsman. I was actually the interim pastor when I first came there, and because I could come from Omega Baptist Church with Sister Moore, I was at Omega Baptist Church over on Hayden Avenue for close to 10 years. And never thought that I would come back to East Cleveland. It was on 93rd and Kinsman. We were looking for a church home. We came to this place, and I said, there's no way in the world we're moving there. Leaks was everywhere. The boiler was about to break. And I said, we don't even have any money. So how can we take on this church? When we looked at their bills, the bills were averaging like $5,000 a month for gas bills and $2,000 a month for electric bills. I'm like, if it's meant, God's going to have to make a way because there's no way possible we're going to be able to afford that. But we came into this facility, and this building is 35,000 square feet. And I was like, there's no way in the world we're going to be able to occupy the space. There are over 20 classrooms in the building, and I was like, how are we going to do it? When we came in, this became what I call the field of dreams. If you build it, they will come. Our first tenant, and we don't call them tenants, but just to give you a reference point, we call them partners. So our very first partner in the building was the Northern Ohio Recovery Agency. They have about 6 offices in the building. Right after that, we have AA groups that meet here. There are 5 AA groups that meet here. So we have AA on Sunday night, Monday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, and Saturday night. So they use the lower level area. And then right after that, when Huron Hospital closed down, the Women, Infant, and Children's program, they left Huron and they came here. So there's a WIC office here. They service 1,800 families a month. Wow. So this is a busy place. And then the last organization that moved here is the Children's Choice Learning Center, and they have close to 100 families that they service through their daycare. So this is a hub for life, and I call it the Life Center because we have folks as young as babies, toddlers, and now we're going to have senior programs. So this is going to cover the entire life of a person. So we welcome the opportunity to have you all here.